Today, we've got a story for you. It's about a beloved state park, but it's also about a hidden history that was almost lost. And what's really cool is how that history is now inspiring a whole new generation to build a more equitable future.
So think about this for a second. Those beautiful trails you walk, those historic buildings you admire in our parks. What if their very foundations were built on a story that's way more complicated than the one we're usually told?
Okay, so to get to the bottom of this, we've got to go back in time. Our story starts at Miller-Sylvania State Park, right in the middle of the Great Depression, with a program called the Civilian Conservation Corps. Now, the CCC, this was a huge deal back then. It was a massive public works program that put thousands of young men to work building the kinds of things we still get to enjoy today. And their work at Miller-Sylvania in the 1930s was foundational. I mean, they built the roads, the cabins, the very trails that make the park what it is.
But here's the thing. While the stonework and the timber have stood the test of time, a really crucial part of the human story behind it all was basically buried on purpose.
You see, the promise, the big idea behind the CCC was opportunity for all young men. But the reality, well, for its black members, it was a completely different story. They worked just as hard as everyone else, but they faced segregation. They were shut out of leadership roles and were often pushed into support jobs like working in the kitchen. Their contributions were essential, but they were pretty much erased from the official record. And this is where this piece of history gets really personal, right? Because have you ever felt that? Where you've worked your tail off on something, you've poured your heart into it, and you just feel completely unseen? It's that same sting. But this is where the story takes a turn for the better. Because, history doesn't have to be the final word. Decades later, a new organization has popped up to directly answer the call of this forgotten legacy, and they're called the Outdoor Equity Corps. So, the Outdoor Equity Corps, or OEC for short, is not just another youth program. Not at all. It is a direct response to the past. It's a space where young leaders, especially from Black and Brown communities, get to do that same kind of conservation work, but this time, the whole thing is centered on equity, leadership, and justice. Their mission is about so much more than just building trails. It's about this powerful idea of reclaiming a sense of ownership and belonging in these outdoor spaces. Spaces where their ancestors contributed so much, but were made to feel like they didn't belong. So the big question is, how do they actually pull this off? Well, this isn't just a vague idea. The OEC has this really clear, structured way of doing things, broken down into 3 distinct phases. It's a journey, really, that takes you from understanding the past to actively shaping the future. So the whole program is built around these 3 steps: reconnect, recompense, and youth go. Each one builds on the last, and together, well, they create this incredible pathway that turns participants into community leaders. Let's break them down.
So, first up, reconnect. And everything starts with the history. But we're not talking about just reading some textbook. No, these young people, they are out there, walking the same trails, standing inside the same cabins, and really digging into those hidden stories of the Black enrollees. It makes the whole thing feel real.
Okay, so once they've made that connection with the past, they move into phase 2, recompense. And this is where learning turns into doing. It's all about restorative justice, honoring the folks who came before them by literally picking up the tools and building skills for their own futures. And when we say building skills, we mean it. This is so much more than just the kind of manual labor the CCC did. I mean, look at this list. They're doing trail restoration for sure, but they're also installing solar panels. And on top of all that, they're learning things like public speaking and how to manage a project. These are real-world skills. And that all leads to the final phase, Youth Go. And this is where it all comes together, and the students become the teachers. The young people who've gone through the program, they step up and become mentors themselves, leading workshops and guiding their peers. It creates this amazing ripple effect of service right back into their own communities. So, when you put all of that together, what do you actually get? You get a program that isn't just about correcting a historical wrong. It's about actively forging a powerful new legacy for the future. I mean, you can literally draw a straight line through the generations here. You start in the 1930s with these hidden contributions, you jump to today with the OEC actively reconnecting with that history, and that all points directly to a future defined by a new, diverse generation of environmental leaders. And really, that's the whole point, isn't it? It's about transforming a hidden history into a visible, tangible, and positive impact. It's about building more than just trails and bridges. It's about building skills, community, and a future rooted in equity. And so this whole story leaves us with this final, powerful question. It's a challenge, really, for all of us to look for the hidden stories in our own communities and to ask ourselves, what role can we play in honoring the past to build a better future?